Hi Baes, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Ofentia and I'm your book bae. Your book bae is once again in the building. I hope you can't see too much of what's going on in here. It's washing day for my linen, so I'm just trying to make sure that there's nothing that is being shown. The room is a little bit of a mess. I have to attend to that. But I thought I would film this video because I finished the book about 2 nights ago, so I want to do this review while it's still reviewing Segi's Wife, The Secret Life of Segi's Wives by Lola Shanayan. So this is my first video of the year, so happy new year. I hope you guys are good. I hope you all enjoyed your festive season, and yeah, that we're all on a good trajectory to 2024 so far. Today is the 25th of January, so yeah, I think we're at the end of January now. Some people call it January. If that's been your portion, sorry for that. But we are back and we are happy and healthy, and I hope that everybody is good. Please let me know in the comment section. Just drop an emoji to let me know how you are. That being said, let's get into the review. So let's start off with the synopsis of the book. So I'm going to try not to reveal too much because I know that I don't want this to necessarily be a spoiler review. So the book is essentially about 4 wives of a polygamist. His name is Segi, but I forget his real name. I mean, he's referred to as Segi because it's kind of like an identifier with regards to his first child. So like also in the African culture, I know in my culture, if let's say my mom's first child's name is Umpile, so then people call her Ma Umpile because it's kind of like her identity is attached to her first child's name type of thing. So same thing with Segi. His first daughter's name and first child is his daughter's name. His first child and daughter's name is Segi. So they call him Segi. And then that's also in the book how all the wives are identified as the name of their first child. Segi is our protagonist, and he's really a complicated character. I mean, I so badly wanted to not like him, but after he shares some of his thoughts and the way he views the world and what he's gone through, I kind of had a lot of empathy for him. I think that a lot of men in his position can tend to be quite abusive. I think he was just, there's the level of insecurity there that was just kind of, I don't know, that's how I view it. But now I'm going to characters when I should be talking about the synopsis. Back to the synopsis. So yeah, it's about a polygamist. His name is Segi, and he has 4 wives. And primarily I feel like we hear from a lot of the wives, but I feel like the story was largely based on Bolande, and Bolande is his youngest wife, his 4th wife, and she's 25, and she is trying to conceive a child because all the other wives have children and she doesn't. And for her, she's very much aware that she marries into this family, and the sole purpose of her being there is for her to bring more children into Segi's family. So the other wives, the first 3 wives, well, the first 2 wives, 2 of the first 3 wives resent her because she is a graduate. She holds a BA degree. She never says from where, but they refer to her often as like the graduate, or she thinks she's better because she can read, or she thinks she's better because, you know. So it's like such stark contrast between the first 3 wives who struggle or can't read or are not literate, and then we have Bolande, who is a university graduate, which is like, obviously she's gone through high school, and then she even took it a step further and went and got herself a degree. So that was like always a stark contrast in the book. Sorry about that. I don't know if it's going to show up in the footage, but my sister was just asking me something. So I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so it's structured around this polygamous marriage, but it's really sad because I guess you ask yourself, like, why a woman like that would find herself in a marriage, particularly like where she's so different from the other wives. Family was not happy about that. They didn't necessarily support her decision to become a 4th wife because her mom always had very high hopes for her and her younger sister, Laura. But you could tell that she also didn't necessarily know why she was there. But she said in the book that one of the reasons why she's happy and she's grateful to Segi is because he doesn't want more from her than she's willing to give. Like, he doesn't really want much from her. All he wants is for her to be there and be like herself. She doesn't have to be more than just what she decides to bring to the table, because he's very much like a traditional man. So he doesn't really ask much for them beyond like certain things that demonstrate their usefulness. I guess I'm very popular today, but so those are the things that stuck out for me with regards to the synopsis. And I feel like although we really do it an omniscient narrator, so we hear the thoughts of each character, a lot of it for me is structured around Bolande's story and how the narrative thread of like what she's going through and kind of shows that. But I mean, we hear from all the wives, but I don't know, maybe that's just me because I was focusing more on her story because I feel like she's the person that I could relate to the most out of all the wives. But yeah, it's a really touching story, and it's like, I don't know, like, you know, when you get to know people, the thing I love about reading is like when you know people, when you see people interact with people, it's always, oftentimes it's like on its face value scenario. Like you never really get to know like what people are dealing with inside, and when you read you get insight into like someone's deepest, or the character's deepest, darkest, most vulnerable pieces in themselves, and that's what this book did really well. So we can go on into, so we've spoken about the synopsis, we've spoken about some of the characters and some of the things that I've liked. Let's talk about what I didn't like. I don't know, in terms of the book, I don't think I actually liked the book, and that's because I don't know why, but I just felt like I just kind of kept reading it because I was like, what the F, like what is going on here? Because there were a lot of things that I was just like, yo, and obviously like because everybody lives their life in a different way, though the things that were going on in that book are just not things that I related to. So I was really kind of confused, and I asked myself often like, what is going on? But it was well written in the sense that you don't want to put the book down. I learned a lot. I think for the most part what the book prompted me to do is to think beyond what I do know, and to kind of also be reintroduced into the context of different people, because like I say, reading is always an experience because you get to see like the lived experience of some other people and get to see things from a perspective that you wouldn't necessarily be exposed to if you weren't reading, right? I was talking to a friend of mine on Instagram, and she's asking me, oh, like, how was the book and stuff? And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know if I enjoyed the book. I just felt like it was really like me in a fever dream. And I just kept going, and I kept going and kept going and kept going. Like, I don't know. It was really, yeah, it was a lot. Some of the themes in the book include sex and sexuality, marriage, obviously, polygamy, health, men's health, women's health, cheating, faithfulness, patriarchy is a big one, culture, this idea of like mothers wanting the best for their kids versus putting too much pressure on them that they feel like they cannot necessarily be their true selves or show their vulnerability. So vulnerability is a big one. Rape is also a theme in the book. Forbidden love, loss of parents is a theme in the book. Health is a theme in the book. Those are just to name a few, right? Those are the things that come to mind. So in terms of what I liked about the book, I think I've mentioned some of the things that I liked. I did enjoy the way it was written because, like I said, I don't think I actually really enjoyed the book, but I kept reading it. So obviously there's something that the author did right? I liked the way, the intimacy that we were able to understand each character's POV. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I liked that we got to hear from a lot of the characters. Like it was quite a diverse story in the sense that we hear from people that we don't even expect to hear from normally. Like I heard from the kids, some of the kids, I heard from the driver, we heard from protagonists themselves, the main protagonists, which I'd like to think were the four wives and Baba Segi. We heard from a lot of the characters, and even if it was like bite-sized pieces, right? Because the way that it's written, it's not necessarily chronological, the story, but it's kind of, it makes sense in your head because you're in the present moment, but it's referring to something that happened in the past that's relevant for what you're reading. And that was done really well, so I like that. And yeah, in terms of what I didn't like I said, I don't know if there's like a specific thing that I didn't like, but I just felt, I think I was like overwhelmed with some of the content. I felt like, wow, this is a lot. So that's why I think I have this kind of like, I'm just so unsure of how I really feel about the book, you know? It's a short read, right? It says, and it does a lot in the space of 200 pages, 200 and something pages. I think it says it's 219 pages, but then the actual pages, like the actual book stops, like the text or the story stopped on like 204, page 204. So that's a lot that happens in those 200 pages. It's jam-packed, which I think can go to the things that I did like. So yeah, that's what I will say about what I didn't like. I don't know. For the most part, I don't like that I was overwhelmed. But then again, like every book and every story is different. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that it made me feel so uncomfortable, because it made me think about and consider things that I never would have prioritized before. So I think, yeah, that's a positive. And then let's go straight to the good stuff. What I would rate the book. I don't know. Immediately after I finished reading the book, I said I would rate it a 6.5 out of 10, just because of all the things that I've listed before. Like there's something that I'm just not quite like, I don't understand. I'm not grappling with that I don't like, but I kept reading the book. I finished the book. It's much more than for that of the books that I haven't read that I'm looking at here on my side table. For example, Spare by Prince Harry. I still haven't finished that book, but I finished it, you know. And the 200 pages for me, it wasn't like a laborious read, okay? Like some stages I was like, okay. But then I had those moments in time when I'm like, I don't want to, okay, 10 more pages, okay, one more chapter, like before bed, or when I have to do something like work-wise. I was prioritizing the book, so there must have been something. So for that reason, I'll bump it from a 6.5 out of 10, and I'll give it like a 7, because, you know, there's still something that I was missing from the book. So my final answer is 7.5 out of 10. So that brings us essentially to the end of our video. If you have read the book, please comment down below if you've read it. Let me know what you thought about the book. Let me know if there's some nuance or something that I'm missing, or you can kind of put a finger on what you feel like made me uncomfortable about the book. What did you feel about the book? What are you reading and what do you intend to read? And are there any books that you would like me specifically to review on the channel? And that's it from my side. Bye for now. Mwah.